Hi, I'm Brian Copeland, and thank you very much for watching this video. I am making it because I need your help. The Marsh and I are engaged in a very special partnership, and that is to provide my show on depression, The Waiting Period, for free to the public on 26 Sundays throughout the course of the year. Now, what The Waiting Period is, it's a very personal story of a very deep bout of suicidal depression that I personally went through back in 2008. It was just a whole bunch of horrible things that happened to me that sent me into the depths of despair. Over the course of a couple of months, my grandmother, who raised me, died suddenly. I had a marriage breakup. I got into a terrible car accident that left me in a state where I had to have spinal cord surgery to keep me from being quadriplegic, and the long and painful recovery from that surgery caused me to be laid up for about 3 months. And during that time, I just went deeper and deeper and deeper into despair, to the point where when I finally was able to get up, take the neck brace off and get up off the couch and get up out of bed, I went to a gun store. And I purchased a gun, a .32 caliber Beretta Tomcat, with the intention of just ending it, because the pain was just so much, I just couldn't do it anymore. You ever hurt so badly that you can't see anything but the pain? And that's the despair that I was in. Now, fortunately for me, the state of California, where I live, has a 10-day waiting period where you cannot obtain a firearm that you've purchased for 10 days after making the purchase. And during that 10 days, I had a couple of things happen that changed my life and that saved my life. So in 2012, I wrote this one-man play, The Waiting Period, and I take you through, over the course of that play, I take you through that 10 days in terms of what it is that happened to me and how I felt, what was going on in my mind, and how I came out of it. I got an email from a woman who was suicidal and had just had so many terrible things happen to her. And like me, she'd suffered from depression her entire life, and she was at the end of her rope, and she had decided she was going to drive to the Golden Gate Bridge and jump off. So it's a Sunday morning. She is in her favorite cafe in San Francisco, having what she thought was going to be a last cup of coffee. And there on the table at this cafe is the pink section of the San Francisco Chronicle, the entertainment section. And there's a little blurb on The Waiting Period, what it's about, and that it's free. And, so she looks at this thing and thinks, okay, it's free. I don't have any money anyway. Maybe I should go to this. Or, well, she can't decide. So she flips a coin. She flips a coin. Heads, she goes to the bridge and jumps off. Tails, she comes and sees The Waiting Period. So came up tails, she came to the Marsh and saw the play, and she wrote me that she sat in her car afterwards and she cried. And she cried because she didn't know that other people felt like what she was feeling. She didn't think anybody in the world understood. And that's how it was when I was in that place. You don't think anybody in the whole world gets it. You don't think anybody understands. You don't think anybody can possibly know the pain that you're in. You know what? Your pain is, I hate to say it, your pain is not unique. The reason I say it's not unique is because there's so many of us that suffer from it. What is different is how it is that we deal with it, and whether or not we choose to share the fact that we're in pain with somebody who can help us or we don't. So she sat in her car and she cried, and she drove to her sister's house, and she told her sister, look, here's what's going on. Here's what I was going to do today. Can you help me? And her sister got her help, and she's here with us today. So there's so many different stories like that from this play. We have an epidemic of depression and suicide, especially among young people. And that's why I want to offer this show for free. That's why I want to continue to offer this show for free. Now, the Marsh would love to just give me the space to let me do this play for free every single week. But the Marsh, like most theater companies, most theaters, is a nonprofit, meaning that they have no money. And if I am not there during the waiting period, then there has to be some other show there in that space at that time, generating revenue to keep the lights on. So we are trying to raise this year $80,000. We're saying 26 Sundays. If we raise more, we'll go more than that. But that's half the year. Approximately every other Sunday, 2 performances a month of this play. People can come in absolutely free, come and see it. There are people who see it multiple times. There are people who are feeling badly and they're thinking about doing something to themselves, and they'll come in and see it almost, like, okay, for this 75 minutes that I'm sitting here, I'm not doing anything that's going to harm myself. So help us. Please. Thanks for watching.
David Nolan, native San Franciscan. I just wanted to come and tell you how much the Marsh has meant to me. I'm on a budget right now as a student, and I can't afford necessarily to go see a play at some of the larger theaters, and Marsh has a wonderful pay-as-you-go plan. Also, the Marsh helped me tremendously in my life. I saw one show there. Brian Copeland did a show on depression. I suffer from depression myself. It was brought on due to post-traumatic stress disorder. I spent a lot of time in the war in Iraq, and I didn't have the courage to seek help. And his courage to speak out at that show at the Marsh gave me the courage to go to the VA and get help. So the Marsh actually helped change my life and my family's life. So I hope we can do what we can to keep the Marsh running. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Hello, this is Stephanie Wiseman, Artistic Director and founder of the Marsh. If we could only give this show the waiting period to everyone in our community, it would be wonderful. For people who have depression, for their friends, their family, outreach to the community. But we can't do it without your help. We're a small nonprofit theater without those kind of resources. So please, please consider helping us to bring this show to the Bay Area community.